That's not a good thing. When they call for, again, crossing off part of my Bill of Rights, for the indefinite detention of American citizens without charge or due process, I think some red flags ought to come up, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So does he plan on taking that back, or?
Well, he's actually never even been called out on that issue before.
I know, I'm calling him out.
Well, that, it passed completely with full support in both sides.
You and I both know it's like wrestling.
Yeah.
They're both in the same club. Both sides are in the same club. This left-right dynamic, that's to keep us distracted at this level, so we can't see that Goldman Sachs is funding both Mr. Barack Obama and Mr. Mitt Romney, both of them.
And that's getting money out of politics.
They're stockholders in the Federal Reserve. You and I can't go buy stock in the Federal Reserve. You can't. But Goldman Sachs is, and the rest of these huge banks, Citibank,
yeah.
Bank of America, they are. And these are all the people that are funding basically both sides. So they're playing, it's sort of like you going to a horse race and putting money on every horse.
Yeah.
Whoever wins, you're going to win.
Yeah, and that's, Barack Obama's been wanting to get money out of politics for a long time, but the hypocritical thing about it is he kind of has to play money into politics at this point to even get reelected. So I think that issue will be addressed, and when I say I think, I'm 75% sure that money in politics will be addressed in his second term if he's reelected, because he's always been against money in politics, but kind of has to play.
Well, why wouldn't he go ahead and address that? I mean, these are one of the fundamental things that he got into office for the first place, right?
Well, he wouldn't be able to be reelected without it. So, look at somebody like Buddy Roemer. Buddy Roemer's a Republican who's running on the platform of get money out of politics. He doesn't take any money from corporations, doesn't take any money from super PACs or anything like that. He only takes money from private individuals who can only donate up to $100.
Right.
So, you haven't even heard his name before, have you? But he's also a legitimate candidate. He's a governor. Uh-huh. And he will not be he won't be elected because he doesn't have the money to fund his own campaign.
Right.
And now that's why I think Obama will address that issue, because now, if he's reelected, he's in his second term, he won't be chained down by money because he doesn't have to run for the reelection again.
What was your name again?
Sawyer.
That would be kind of like, though, if I did this. If I came in and said, hey, Sawyer, give me $5 and I'm going to go out and I'll come back with a huge lunch for you and your entire staff. And I come back and all I've got is a cheeseburger. And I say, well, listen, I ran into a little bit of trouble, but give me $5 more and I'll come back. So what I'm getting at is this guy, he came in with all this hope and change and everything, and then completely went and reneged on everything that he said to begin with. I won't bow to special interests. Well, of course not. And he points them in their cabinet. I mean, it was very blatant, and I was disappointed. And and now he's going, oh, well, just give me 4 more years and then I'll do that stuff. When is everything that he's done so far has pushed me close. I feel more oppressed just by the executive orders that he's signed into bill since he's been in office than I have ever in my whole life.
He's only signed executive orders into issues that Congress refuses to address. Things like
rightfully so. The indefinite.
That was an act passed.
Okay. Well, how about the one that's going to cut out the power grid if he decides to flip the switch? All of these are under the clause of in case of civil unrest or economic collapse, which of course we're headed for. This is designed.
The grid was passed because of, if you read, there's tons of journal articles that have come out lately that are talking about, terrorism that doesn't occur, based on, bombs or guns or threats like that. They attack things like healthcare, or they attack the grid that could really, just shut down a country. Absolutely. So that was based on that issue. That wasn't based on, civil unrest.
It says right in the document, in case of economic collapse and or civil unrest. I've read the document.
It's based, but it's absolutely based on the premise that the United States could be taken out by somebody hacking the power grid. There's just something on NPR the other week about
right.
issue.
I'm not talking about defending against hacking the power grid. I'm talking about shutting it off completely at his whim.
Because if somebody was able to get into the power grid, they could completely control the country, so he could shut it down.
I don't know. It sounds to me like it would be a potential to set the American people under siege. I mean, just for instance, we use nice names like sanctions, right? Sanctions. That's a nice word. right? You know what it means? It
Sanction
means
doesn't even
siege.
Well, sanction
It
doesn't
means siege because you don't agree with another government's policies. You're going to starve their populace to death until they bend to your will.
Well, the thing about sanctions is sanctions create. First of all, sanction means to allow. In the English language, it means also to allow, and it also means to prohibit. It is a word that means two different things.
Right.
So the word sanction, yes, it is a convoluted word that doesn't have any meaning. But sanctions based on international politics, such as Syria, we sanction Syria and we say we're not going to buy your oil if you don't stop shooting your citizens.
Well, that's not just what we said. We've also said we're not going to allow anyone to bring you food. We're not going to allow anyone to bring you medicine. Is that fair that those people that are the populace of that country have to suffer because the policy of my government doesn't agree with the policy of their government?
The policy of their government is to shoot through those
No. Wait a second. That's already been uncovered. Those are Al-Qaeda working for CIA.
No. The Syrian government has... We've been after the Syrian government for a long time,
Right.
but the United States doesn't go into Syria because it's politically unstable.
So they just started doing this? It doesn't seem funny to you that they got the war drums beating toward Iran and Syria, and Iran and Syria are the only two countries left in the world that are not under control of a central bank. They still work off gold.
Well, you know...
Libya did too till we made them collapse. Yes, Iraq did too till we collapsed their government. So did Afghanistan until we collapsed their government. Where is their gold now? Who has it?
Well, they're the only countries that are still, not based on fiat money.
Well,
people
good.
People don't really understand that because the term fiat money doesn't really make sense. Paper that has value without value backing it up.
Well, that's what it is. It
doesn't
says
make
in
sense.
God we trust, and that's because it's based on faith. That's the only thing that makes it worth anything.
And it's absolutely, in my opinion, the wrong way to go about things. But it's unsustainable the opposite way.
No, it's not. It was very sustainable until Woodrow Wilson was blackmailed into signing the Federal Reserve Act in 1913.
Well,
And he was blackmailed.
Yeah, well, it has nothing to do with the fact that now fiat money hasn't been something that's destroyed the U.S. economy.
Yes, it has, because what has happened is every time you pay your taxes to the IRS, which is the collection agency for the Federal Reserve, the Federal Reserve then issues more money at another interest rate. You can't get out from under it. It's like Amway. You can never get out from under it until it bursts. And it's at the point where it's going to burst. Absolutely. You can't print any more money. That's all. You cannot.
Well, we don't print any money for inflation purposes, but yes, we don't. Yes, you're right that we don't print any more money. That's because we don't want the inflation rate to go up because we already have a lot of money out there in the system. So now it's a matter of either collecting it through bonds and stocks or, people need to start spending money. And that's what we've been trying to drive with people buying stocks and bonds and people starting to spend their money because we don't want to issue out any more money to create inflation when we already have tons of money out into the system. That's why the Fed has been pushing people buying stocks and bonds in the U.S. government for a long, long time.
So is this like for the public then to
Yeah.
take this and be able to look over the issues? Because like I said, I'm still undecided. I want to know where everybody stands on all these things. Okay, that was the Obama headquarters there. We're going to walk on up here about a mile or two to the Romney headquarters. Could you believe the blatant ass fucking lies that they told me in there? Wow. That kid didn't know what the hell he was talking about, did he?